Hey guys, welcome to the module on high-ticket dropshipping market research. In this module, I'm going to show you each step along the way for researching your market so that you can dive deep into any one of these niches and discover what the most profitable product categories are to sell online. So in this lesson, I'm going to show you my niche research spreadsheet. This is a spreadsheet that I designed specifically to follow along with the course. So as I show you the spreadsheet, just know that there is a lesson for every single column in the spreadsheet, and it's basically like a system and it reads like a book. It goes from left to right. So without further ado, let's get into the spreadsheet. All right, so just click the link in the description below and it will pull up a new tab with this blank niche research sheet template here. And so this is going to be an introductory to the template. Every lesson after this in the module is going to go over each one of these columns here to fill it out. So easy enough. Go ahead and click File and go to Make a Copy, and then choose where in your drive you want to save it. Okay, you are going to need a Google Drive in order to access this. So if you don't have that yet, just go and set up a Gmail account. It's free. Anyway, there are some links at the top for resources, our recommended resources, top 10 niches guide, 99 niches list to get some ideas so you can brainstorm. Niche store examples, our YouTube channel where you can get a bunch more videos on niche selection, our Facebook group where you can ask people in the group and get ideas, of course the niche hacks course, the one you're in right now, the Masterclass. When you're ready, you can sign up for it there. Private coaching, when you are ready for that, you can sign up for there. And if you're interested in the turnkey service that we do, the done for you service, you can sign up here. Our podcast, our guides on our blog, and our reviews on our blog are right here. So keep that in mind. That's available to you as well. All right, so when this is finished, it's going to have a link to every single lesson right here in the header, and you'll be able to easily access the lessons when you need to. All right, that's the research template. The first one is finding the niche main category, and then niche competitors, category subcategories, the average price point for each one, the keyword search volume and the trending for each one, seasonality for each one, and then the names of the USA dropshipping suppliers, keyword search volume for each one. Does a supplier have MAP policy? Is the supplier high quality? The target market for that category and level of difficulty, and find the best-selling products on that store. So that's how this works. In each lesson, I'm going to show you how to fill this out. So I will see you in the first lesson. All right, guys, welcome to the lesson on researching Google Shopping to find niche competitors. So in the last module, we showed all the different, things you'll be looking for, and so now we're going to do the actual research. So in order to brainstorm ideas, you can go through my niches guide, my 99 niches list, my niche store examples blog post, my YouTube channel. There's a lot of resources for niche ideas here. I'm just going to start off with electric bikes because that's what I used to sell online, and then I might do some other categories. I'm just going to do that video on this one. So just keep in mind that this process can vary from niche to niche. It can be more difficult with niches that are more competitive or niches that are less dropship friendly and things like that. So this just happens to be a niche that's very dropship friendly and very competitive. So we're going to find a lot of niche stores out there. It's not that difficult. Just keep that in mind that I'll be doing a lot more of the niche reports in this course as well, so that you'll have an idea of all these different niches and how they all differ. So I'm going to be doing those a lot in the future. So with that said, let's go ahead and copy that. I'm in Indonesia, so I had to open a VPN. Again, I use Ivacy VPN. It's my favorite VPN to use. It's just really easy and it works really well and it's super fast. If you want to sign up for Ivacy, you can go to ecommerceparadise.com/Ivacy, and this way you can put yourself in different locations. If you happen to already be in the United States, you'll see shopping ads, so it doesn't really matter. But if you're international, you'll need a VPN to put yourself in the United States to see those shopping ads. All right, so let's get into it. So I've gone ahead and opened up a incognito browser here. You'll need to use an incognito browser to have the VPN actually work. And you just type it in. And by the way, go to google.com/shopping. Okay. And search. Let's see what pulls up. All right, so on the left-hand side, you'll see a bunch of different things. You'll see different brands. Some brands may or may not drop ship. The way we find out is by looking for dropship only competitors here. So I happen to know a few of these. eRides USA might be one. So if I see them, I'm just going to open. eBike Vault is probably one. Lux, I think that's a brand. Journey, that's a niche competitor. This is a niche competitor. This is for sure a broad store. Okay, so that's one way to do it. The other way is just to look through any of them that say 5+ stores selling them, so you get an idea. If you click the button, it'll open a new tab and show the store. So you can look at that. So let's see here. Usually you only want to look at listings that have multiple sellers on them. That's the key. So kind of exhausted that. Looks like most of the people that are just bidding on the generic keyword are the brands themselves, which makes sense. So we found quite a few sites already. Let's go ahead and look at them. All right, yeah, this is definitely a niche store. It's a Shopify store. Let's see. I don't see any address here, no physical retail storefront, just contact info. So we're good. Let's go ahead and go to their homepage. Okay, let's look at their brands menu. These are their brands. So these are probably all dropshipping brands. And the way we want to be sure of that is by looking at a few more sites. Now we saw eRides USA. Let's go ahead and pull that site up. We saw eBike Vault. Let's look at that one. Journey Bikes, let's look there. Liberty Medic, sounds more like a medical shop. It's okay. All right, so let's see what eRides. Yep, this is definitely a Shopify store using the supply theme. And they have an address, but it's probably some sort of a mailbox address. Yeah, looks like it's probably some sort of a home address or something like that. We can look at the map. Unit 4, yeah, so it's probably a lot of different stores. Looks like it's probably a UPS store or something like that. Let's see. Yep. So it's probably some sort of UPS store. It's kind of hard to tell. I don't actually see their business here at all. It's a couple other ones. So yeah, we'll go ahead and assume it's an online-only store. That's their mailing address. So we can extract from there too. Okay, eBike Vault. This looks like one, but let's double check. They don't have a physical storefront. Debt reduction department. So yeah, you can just look at the picture if they have a picture of what the address looks like. Kind of get an idea here, see what's there. I don't see any e-bike shop here, so it's probably some sort of a mailing address of some sort. So we'll move forward. Okay, next, Journey Bikes. And they don't have an address, they just have a city listed, so that's a good sign. All right, and Liberty Medic. They sell all sorts of different things. No address, so that's great. Last one, eWheel Shop. Okay. Yeah, I don't see any address here. New York, New York. Okay, so we're good. All right, great. So these are shops that are all there. So we found plenty right now. So what we can do is we can go into here and we can begin to put the niche site competitors that we found down here in this sheet. So let's go ahead and do that. So we know Electric Zip is one. And next one is eRides USA. Okay. eBike Vault. Journey Bikes. Liberty Medic. and eBill shop. Great. So now that we have this, kind of move a few down, and we're going to get into the next lesson now, where now that we've found the niche competitors, we're going to actually, you know what? I'll show you really quick on how to find more niche competitors before we move on to the next video. Let's do that first. So when you have a list of niche competitors, you can then really easily find more niche competitors because you know what brands they sell or what products they sell, basically. So if you go to collections, all, if it's a Shopify store, this will pull up and sort by high to low or best selling. Okay, looks like they have some sort of free plus shipping offer that's selling really well for their store. But looks like this electric bike, Nakto electric bike, is selling really well. So that's cool. Let's go ahead and copy the name, plug that back into Google, and we can try to find more stores that are selling this bike. Check the same ones that we just looked at. So let's try a different one. Same ones. Last one, if there's not any, yeah, okay, so let's try a different product. That's not Nakto. Let's do this one. Just so you know, this is the same process that your customers are probably going to go through when they're trying to find a better deal online. They're going to use Google Shopping. Yep. So it looks like it's being sold direct. Alright, so we won't worry about that. Let's keep looking. Oops. Let's actually go to high to low instead of best selling. Alright, great. So now we're going to look at this one, Quiet Cat, their most expensive one. Good idea here. Okay. E-Bike Joy. Yeah, let's go ahead and open that. Okay. Let's see, quick cat. Ones. Okay. That motor again. Alright, so that exhausted that one. Let's look at e-bike Joy. Let's actually, before we do that, let's look at some more of these. We looked at Quiet Cat. Looks like those are the most expensive, probably the most profitable too. Alright, we can look at Ad Motor. Oh, here we go. Here's another brand, eMojo. Okay. Kind of the same shop selling. Best e-bike store. It's a new one. Alright, I think we found another one. Okay. We gotta look at this address though and make sure it's not a shop. Immediately it doesn't show that there's an e-bike shop there, which is good. Postal Annex, yeah. If there's like a postal shop or something, then obviously that's probably what it is. So it's a post office, which is good. So this is definitely a online only store. All right, good. I found another one, so I can put that one there. Okay. Next. Let's go to a website where we can have the drop down of the brands again. Here we go. It's not really a niche. Let's look at this one, Best V electric bikes. I can't copy any of the stuff on this website, so I'm going to use a different website. Let's see here. E-rides, alright, cool. Let's look at Extreme. Let's see what other sites have these. Alright, let's see what's going on with this one. Electricity cycles, that's a new one. Okay. That's another one here. Bam bikes. There it is. E-Rides USA, that sounds like a Sharp scooter. I'm not sure what that is. Let's check that out. Let's see anything. Try this one. Okay, so let's just look at these. Yeah, this is a niche store. It's a different domain. It's not e-bikes, it's scooter, but that's okay. Mobility scooters is a close niche. So let's look at the next one we found. Oh, that's the same one as this one, right? Right. So, okay, cool. So let's look at another brand, Civvy Bikes. Okay. Any other sites selling this one, so I'm not sure what the deal there is. These guys don't really have that many brands. Mojo. Not sure if I already looked at this one or not. And it's interesting, but this is just the Google shopping results. We can also look at the organics, and it'll even show stores up here in the top, which is nice. Electric Spokes Company. Okay. Okay, and that might be a niche store right there. This probably is a niche store right here. This might be one right here as well. Let's check. Electricspokes.com. Specialty bike shop. They actually are a bike shop, so I will not look at this site. Electric bike shop online. Not sure what the deal is here, if they're a bike shop or not. It sounds like one if they're saying they're a bike shop. Go to their About Us page. Let's look that address up and see. Yes, they are a physical address, so we will not look at that site. I believe this is an online only store. Let's see here, and yeah, they're online only. All right, great. So that's another one. And off the grid outlets. See what these guys are all about. I think these guys are some sort of an affiliate site, so I'm not going to look at that. Cool. All right, so we found some other ones. Wow, these guys have a lot of brands. Okay, great. So the deal here is, guys, you can just go through every single brand and just keep typing product names into Google, and just choose randomly which ones you want to look at and plug them into Google. And then when you do that, you'll see other stores, right? That's just how it works. You'll uncover new stores that are selling the same bikes. And here's another one. Not sure about that one. This is my old store here. Alright, well, I think I've proved the point that it's pretty easy to find a ton of niche stores here by doing this. And I found a bunch already, so this is really all you need. You can go deeper and find more stores. The more stores you find, the more suppliers and subcategories and all that stuff you'll be able to extract out of it. What you want to do through this process is come up with like a master list of all the different subcategories and categories you can possibly have in a store. And we're going to go through each one of these things and then a master list of all the suppliers you can possibly have so you can build out the biggest and baddest store out there in that niche, right? That's the idea. So, all right, let's get into the next lesson. I'm going to show you how to extract the categories and subcategories from each of these stores. See you in the next lesson. Hey guys, welcome to this training on how to extract categories and subcategories from the competitors that you find. So when you go to the competitor site, you usually will see a menu at the top like this. So all you need to do is actually just kind of like click and drag, and it should open up like this, and you can just kind of highlight all of them and copy, and then you'll have all of them drop down into here, and you'll be able to have a full menu of stuff. So let's go ahead and do that for each one. And actually, if I just go ahead and go to the very bottom here, it might do the whole thing, I'm not sure. No, it doesn't look like it did. Okay, so I do one menu at a time. It's fine. So we're going to do that for all the categories here and all the stores that we found. We're going to build a kind of a master list of all the categories that are possible in this niche. Niche. So if the colors are off, just reset them. And boom. So some are repeated, obviously, which is fine. So we have city, mountain, fat tire, cruiser, trike, scooter, and accessories. So that's what we came up with there. Just kind of move these up. Okay, and then I will take this list of competitors and move it down below. So now I have all the categories and subcategories. Really easy, right? So let's do the next one. Just copy that. Okay, that was really simple. They didn't have any drop downs, subcategories, or anything like that, which is fine. Not all websites we look at are going to be super optimized. Some will be, though. Okay, kind of a similar thing here. And by doing this, you're going to get an idea of all the different versions of categories that people might have. So people might be using different keywords for different categories, and it'll be good for you to learn what they're doing here. Maybe they're doing some SEO tricks, and you want to kind of be mindful of that if they are. So these guys also have e-boards, hand cycles. Okay. Good to know. I'm not sure what the deal was with the size of those, but that's alright. Okay, cool. Let's try this one now. So you get the idea. So go ahead and extract all the different categories and subcategories from all your stores, and then you can start doing research further. And the next lesson, we're going to talk about finding the average price point in each of these categories. So let's get into that video. See you there.
Hey guys, welcome to this lesson. We're going to find the average price point now of every single one of these categories and subcategories. And the reason why is because we want to get the idea of which categories and subcategories have the highest average price point, because that's one of the main determining factors of which categories we're going to go after in the first place. This can vary from niche to niche and from category to category. So like this is just one example, electric bikes, but there's a lot of different niches that will have different examples, so it's kind of hard to say that this is going to work across multiple niches, but it generally speaking does. So you just want to get an average idea. So what we're going to do is pull up each of those collections, and we're going to go from price high to low to price low to high. Okay, and that'll give us our idea. Let's start on the low end because we'll just form a thing there. So on the low end, and I'm looking here, and these are actually not, I don't think, city bikes. These are like tricycles, so it looks like some things are in the wrong category here. But I think the idea is that, yeah, so here's like the lowest of the city bikes, I think. It's like a city style bike. So kind of have a discerning eye when you do this, but so it looks like around 1,400. Maybe less if you include like folding. Let's just say that, so 1,400, and this doesn't have to be perfect. 1,402, and then high to low. And it looks like 44.99 maybe. It's an electric folding bike. I wouldn't really consider that a city bike. Here's a city bike, 27.99. So let's just say 1,400, 2,800. All right, so that's that category. Let's check out the next one. So price low to high. I would say that commuter bikes, probably this one here, so 1,400. And on the high end, let's say this one, so 2,400. I'll do one more. So this is comfort bikes. I think the idea is that they have a big comfy seat. So yeah, like split back handlebars, that kind of thing. It looks like maybe this one would work for that, so 750 to high to low. This is definitely one, so 17.99 looks like. We'll go full up. Okay, so you guys get the idea. Just go through and complete the average price point for all the different categories, and that's it. Okay, see you in the next lesson. Okay, welcome to this lesson where I'm going to go over the keyword search volume for each one of the categories and subcategories to get an idea of which ones have the most demand in the marketplace. So to do this, first of all, you can download the free keyword research tool called Keywords Everywhere. Just go to keywordseverywhere.com. I'll put a link in the description of this lesson, and get your API key, and then go to google.com. What's going to happen is it will give you the search results. So in order to find the search results, what we're going to do is actually open the category up, because sometimes the name of the category isn't necessarily the keyword we should look up. So like for here they just put city, right? But that's not the keyword. The keyword is electric city bikes, and hopefully that's a good keyword. And we'll find out right now. $8.80 a month. Okay, it kind of looks like it kind of fixed it for us, which is great to see. So $8.80 a month. Now if we go like, let's switch it up, electric city bikes, or city electric bikes, $7.20 a month. So now we know they're similar keywords, but electric city bikes gets more search volume. So that's definitely the one to go with. Alright, so once we have the keyword search volume, we know it's $8.80 per month for that keyword. We're actually going to adjust the keyword here to say the name of we want it, electric city bikes. And then we're going to put $8.80 per month, okay? So let's do the same thing here. This is pretty obvious, electric commuter bikes, so don't really have to pull the link up for that. We can tell that it's $1,600 per month, and that's pretty high. If you want to, though, you can still do that trick I was telling you about and just see. $1,300, so it's definitely better the other way around. So $1,600. Okay, and we'll do the same thing here, and we'll move on to the next after this. Electric comfort bikes, $140, so it's not very high, so I'm going to see if like comfort electric bikes is higher. $140, okay. We'll just go with that. So already you can see that out of these three categories, city, commuter, and comfort, the most popular and trendy keyword is 160 or 1,600. So it's commuter bike. So the average price point is pretty high and it's higher search volume. So I would definitely go after that category out of these three. I'll go ahead and finish this research on my own, and you guys can finish the research in your given niche on your own. And I'll see you in the next lesson on trends. Alright, so in this lesson I'm going to talk about how to determine trends within a given niche. Now, one thing I want to make sure you understand is that usually the trends are going to show you a lot better data on the broad categories. So in this case, the main category, electric bikes, would show a lot better trend data than electric city bikes. And I'm going to show you what that looks like right now. Go to Google, or go to trends.google.com or google.com/trends. They go to the same place. Link is in the description below the video. Anyways, type electric bikes or your main category first, and then it will show you trending data. So right now this niche over the past 12 months in the United States, it's July, so it's at an all-time high right now. It looks like the trend is, generally speaking, and this is like over the last 12 months, this is called seasonality, not necessarily trends. So I was going to do the next lesson on seasonality, but I'll do that separately anyways. Trends, you want to look at the last like long time, so usually 2004 to present, whatever it offers you. So you can see in 2004, the max keyword volume it was getting was somewhere around 61. It peaked in August 2008, and then it kind of went down after that. And then just recently, around 2017, it started really massively seeing some growth again. 2018, it got even higher. And now in 2019, it's the highest it's ever been. So that's great. So it's definitely trending up. So it's a great niche to be in. So let's say up right here. And even more ideally is that I would actually move these down, which I'm going to do right now, because I want that data to be for this category, obviously. All right. So now I'm going to show you what it looks like if I were to put in another keyword, electric city bikes. You can even use the compare function here. See how you can't even tell because the keyword volume is so much less. So you can remove the original one and just compare categories to each other. Electric city bikes are definitely trending up. So put that there. Commuter bikes have a bit more search volume, so maybe we can compare the two. We certainly can, but still a little bit less. But generally speaking, it's still trending up, which is great. And the last one, electric comfort bikes. I doubt there's going to be a whole lot of data on that, but we'll see. Yeah, there really isn't. If I were to remove these other two, I might be able to see the curve a little bit better, if at all. And there's no data, so yeah. Let's just say question mark for that one. Or I'll just put no data, so it's really clear. Because, you know, there's such little volume that obviously there's going to be no data. So in the next lesson, just to separate these things out, I'm going to teach you again what seasonality is all about, and so you can kind of be prepared for that. So let's get into the next lesson. Hey, welcome to this lesson on researching the seasonality for each niche and category and subcategory. So we're in the sheet here, and this is the seasonality box. Seasonality can be determined with Google Trends. So in the last video I showed you how to determine trends, general trends, which is 2004 to present. So if I go back to my research sheet and grab the keyword electric bikes and plug that in again, instead of 2004 to present, I will search the past 12 months, which is 1 full year of seasonality. This is only going to give me the data on the last 12 months, so you can see how it peaks in the summer, early to late summer, and then it dips in the winter, somewhere around January all the way through till kind of the beginning of March it dips. So it's definitely summer seasonal, so I'll put that here. And it's going to probably be similar data across multiple electric bike categories. But if that store has something else on it, like scooters, for instance. Oh, yeah. Anyways, I think it's not a, well, let's just look it up anyways. So in the past 12 months, scooters are a little bit less seasonal. It's pretty flat. And just kind of look around a little bit. Let's just see the trends on scooters. Looks like it's pretty flat. It's trending up a little bit, which is nice to see. Anyway, so you can get an idea there. You don't really need to research the seasonality across all the subcategories of a particular product because, you know, obviously it's going to be the same seasonality. There are some exceptions. Like let's say if an electric city bike, obviously someone's going to use that more in the summer. But let's just say, let me think of one. If there was a subcategory of a product that actually was more useful in the wintertime, like here's one, a good example, hunting bikes. It's a great example actually because electric hunting bikes. And we look at the past 12 months data on that. The highest is right around hunting season, right? And that makes sense. Like November through December, and it's kind of low in the summer. So even though it's an outdoor product that's used mostly like in the fall time, which is hunting season. So it's like kind of its own little separate niche market within electric bikes because it's a whole separate use than what they're usually used for, which is just transportation and recreation. This is used for a specific hunting thing. So even if I were to like change up the keyword a little bit, hunting electric bikes, yeah, it's going to give me the similar data. It peaks around fall and winter. So anyways, that gives you an idea there. So go ahead and fill out the data for the main categories and any subcategories that might pop out to you that you might consider as different for seasonality. But generally speaking, most of the subcategories are going to be the same, so just stick with the main categories for that. And the next one we're going to show you how to do is how to extract the suppliers from the website. I'll see you in the next lesson. All right, so in this lesson, I'm going to show you how to extract the dropshipping suppliers from a particular niche store. So this one is, that one actually, you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this research sheet freeze on those two columns so that I can use this across the board. It's a lot easier. All right, cool. So now I know this starts right here. So usually when you get it to a niche store, they're going to have some sort of a drop down with the brands. It's pretty common. Probably 60 to 80% of the stores will have it. If the store you're researching does not have any kind of brands drop down, you can go to the actual category pages, like this is a category page, and look on the left-hand sidebar. Sometimes they have a list of brands there. And if they don't have a list of brands anywhere, you can maybe type into the search bar like brands, and it might come up with the actual page for all their different brands. If not, then you're going to have to just go through the products one at a time and look for the brand name. So like this one is A to B, obviously. Big Cat, A to B, Extreme, Ad Motor, Belize, okay? And so those are going to be the brand names. Now keep in mind, not all brands are going to sell directly to you. Sometimes you're going to have to go through a distributor to find them. So in the coming lessons, I'll show you how to find the contact info for the suppliers. It's pretty simple. It's a little bit of a process. But for now, you just want to get the list of brand names from your competitor store. So in order to do that, it's really easy. Usually you can just copy like this, get the whole list. If there's something on the website blocking you from copying and pasting stuff, you can go into your Chrome settings and type in JavaScript at the top. and then see where it says that site settings, JavaScript allowed. And then if that website's not letting you, like for instance, this one, Tuscan Basins, was not letting me, and so is Andy and Oak. You can add that website here, and you'll block JavaScript from loading on the website, and then just reload the website, and it'll let you copy and paste stuff. So I'm going to give you that Tuscan Basins example. Website that usually has JavaScript loaded. Without JavaScript, some of the functionality of it's going to look a bit different, but the cool thing is I can copy and paste anything I want. So, and actually they completely changed the theme since the last time I was on this website, which is interesting, but it's okay. So let's see here, kitchen, bathroom, yeah. They don't have a drop-down menu here for the brands. They do here. So like under this category, drop-down menu. So if I were to put in the very top search bar collection/all, which I don't think you can see what I'm typing, but just go /collection/all, and then you'll see the entire drop-down of brands that they carry on their website. So you can just usually, and especially with JavaScript not allowed, you should be able to just easily highlight, copy it, and then paste it. So going back here again, because I'm using this website as a niche store example. That's not really a good example of a store to follow, just FYI, because it's kind of a broad store. They have multiple categories, many categories. It's hard to grow into this kind of a store. It takes a lot of time. The site owner has been doing this site for quite a few years now, so just keep that in mind. You can just tell by the number of ratings they have and all that it's an older store. But with that said, let's go back to the niche site, and now I go to this drop-down menu, I hit paste, and I can delete the first few boxes, go down to the bottom here, cut, paste, and now I have a list of all the brands that this store is selling, which is awesome. So like I said, in future lessons, I'm going to show you how to find their actual contact info so you can recruit them. But for now, we're going to move forward and actually research some of these brands before we contact them, because the point is you want to find out which of the brands is the most popular brand, which one's getting the most keyword searches on the web, so that you know which ones are like the top selling brands. And those are the ones obviously you want to reach out to first, because if you get accounts with those, you'll probably be more likely to make sales. You don't want to get after a brand that has 0 keyword search volume and try to sell them right away, because you're probably not going to sell many, because not many are selling across the web, right? Just sort of makes sense logically. So with that said, get your list of brands from your competitors, and of course you don't have to stop at one site. You can go through all the different niche sites you found and make an entire list of these competitors or these suppliers, and then take the ones out that are duplicates and just make a master list. And the next lesson, I'm going to teach you how to do the keyword search volume on those, which obviously is pretty simple. It's the same method I used before, but we're going to go ahead and do a lesson on that anyway, so I'll see you in the next lesson. Okay, so in this lesson, I'm going to show you how to determine if a supplier has a MAP policy. So over here, I've written down some notes. This is also available below the video. Number one, question is pricing the same across multiple niche online retail stores? So the way you can determine that is by seeking out one of the products in Google Shopping. I've already done some of the research here because I actually filmed this training video, and then for some reason the recording got messed up, so I had to refilm it, but I just left the notes here. But anyway, so I determined that ETB electric bikes couldn't figure out because there weren't too many niche stores selling them. Add Motor, they had a MAP policy, but dealers were breaking it. The price is a little bit all over the place. And then I checked Big Cat, similar issue, MAP policy, but not only is the supplier selling direct themselves for less, but all dealers are also breaking MAP price, so kind of a pain in the butt to sell them, obviously. And then EJO bikes, yes, they have MAP policy, dealers are all selling the same price. So I'll do a little bit more research here in this video, show you guys what I'm talking about. But to do that, since I'm in Indonesia, I have to sign into my VPN. So let's get signed in first. All right, so I'm signed in. Now I'm going to open an incognito browser. And we're going to go to the store here. and we're going to type in the domain. So what I'm going to do is take the product name, and I'm going to go to google.com. Oh, looks like the VPN didn't work there, so let's try another one. Let's try city, Chicago. Okay, try again. Let's see here now. Incognito window, google.com. Alright, worked that time. So now I'll type in the product name, and it shows me the listing. So great. So what we're looking is to see if it's the same price across multiple suppliers. So this product on Bikes Express is $9.48. This is $9.29, $9.39, $10.58, $10.58, $10.88, and that's it. So what I'm guessing is that map policy is probably somewhere around $9.29 or $9.39. It's kind of hard to tell. There's not too many dealers. Let's see what it is on this store and the organics. Let's see if they have similar pricing. Here we go. Looks like it's taking a little while to load. But you can just tell from the search results, this one says $9.39, $9.29. Alright, so $9.39, $11.50, $9.39. So I think $9.39 is map. These guys are probably breaking map, and these guys are showing a little bit more. So it's definitely not ideal because there's somebody breaking map. Let's just put map policy, but dealers are breaking it. Okay. Show you one more example. Mojo. Put this one in here. So the website's still loading. Alright, cool. So, great. This is a good example of one that definitely has map pricing, and they are enforcing it because you see 1109, 1109, 1109, and it's higher everywhere else. 1109, 1159. Emojo themselves are selling for more. That's definitely ideal. So that's good. So that's what we want to see. We want to see that it's the same across all dealers, and that the supplier themselves, if they are selling direct, then at least they're selling above map price or at the same map price. That's the key. All right, I'll do one more so you guys get an idea. Oops. Let's try this one. Okay. Let's do that. And the price we're looking at here is $2,000, $1,879, $1,495. So that's definitely all over the place. Definitely mark that as a not ideal brand. Alright, let's try the Enzo. Oops. Oh well. Copy it from here too. So that. We'll plug that into Google. So $16.99. That's a different model. $17.89. There's not too many of them advertising. Yeah, looks like there's not too many shops advertising this. $13.99. It's kind of all over the place right now. $18.50, $18.50. So $18.50 might be map pricing. I'm not sure why these guys are selling for less. And there's some selling for more, so it's a little. And these guys are definitely selling for less, $17.89. So another brand that's not enforcing their map pricing that well, so it's not ideal. Let's go ahead and mark that in there. Okay, so let's kind of choose a different one. $11.49, $12.49, $10.79. That's a different model. $11.49. $11.49. Okay, good. So that same model is the same price across multiple stores, and the suppliers selling it for the same price themselves. That is an ideal brand to deal with, so we will mark them as ideal. Okay, so the key here, guys, is that you want to make sure that your suppliers have a map policy, and the most ideal suppliers to work with are the ones that are enforcing their map policy. Okay, so the ones where you're going to be marking yes here are the ones that you want to start with. Don't start with the brands that aren't really enforcing their map policy. They're going to just be harder to sell because your competitors are always going to be undercutting you, and that's a pain in the butt to deal with, right? Especially in a niche where there's so many competitors like e-bikes. So follow the instructions. Make sure the pricing is the same across all the retail stores. Are the dealers themselves breaking map pricing? Are dealers breaking map pricing, and is the supplier selling direct themselves? If so, are they at the same price above or below? Okay, so if they are selling direct, that's not ideal. If they aren't, that's ideal. But if they are, and they're selling at the same price or above, that's fine. That's not a big deal because you can offer bonus offers. But if they're selling below, that's really hard to compete with your own supplier. And I've had suppliers like that, and they're just not ideal to work with. So ideally, suppliers have the map policy and enforce it, and either don't sell direct or do, but at the same price or above the price their map price is set for dealers. That's it, guys. So I hope you understand that. Go through and do the research yourself and find those most ideal suppliers to work with. In the next lesson, we will be looking at the supplier quality, and I'll show you how to do that. All right, guys, welcome to this lesson. In this lesson, we're going to determine the quality of each of the suppliers. So the way we do that is by checking reviews on third-party marketplaces like Amazon.com. So we're going to attempt to find their product listings and see if they're good reviews or not. So just type a name into the search bar on Amazon and look and see if they're on there or not. And if they're not, just skip it. All right, so I'm going to try the second brand now and see if I can determine if the supplier makes good quality products or not. Let's see. All right, so right off the bat, I noticed that these have 13 4-star reviews. That's a great, well, let's see. And 70% of them are 5-star reviews, so that's great to see. Okay, 5 stars, 5 stars, 5 stars, 5 stars, 5 stars. So yeah, looks like this is definitely a good brand. And you can go even deeper. You can click on one of these listings and read the reviews and see if they're about the company or the product. Let's see. Not easy to pedal without assist. This bike is fantastic. You can get 20 miles off charge, so you're pedaling, put nearly 200 miles on it, from asphalt to grass and gravel roads, and it's comfortable on any terrain. So I had to pedal. The assist is very capable of getting 40 miles on a single charge at level 2. I'll warn you though, when the battery's dead, it's dead. Don't go below 2 bars of power unless you're ready to pedal. This is not an easy bike to pedal without assist. Battery charges in about 4 hours. Seems the same whether it has 1 bar of power or 3 bars. Overall, great bike. Great ride. Love the bike. So the product quality is really good. Yep. So just right off the bat, you can go deeper in that research, but right off the bat I'll say yes. Say no reviews here. Okay, there was no search volume, so I'm going to skip those 2 brands. Let's try this one. Okay, looks like they do not sell on Amazon. So let's skip there. Next one, Ego. Okay, no reviews. I want to, actually, I'll do one more here, and then I want to show you one that I know has bad reviews in this niche, because I used to sell in this niche. Yeah. Anyways, let's do Ejo first. And there it is. All right, so 4 stars. And right here, 4 stars. So it seems like it's a decent bike. Let's look at the reviews, read them. Works great. Updated. For the Ejo site, YouTube for accurate product shoot. Bike is larger than expected coming from a day home. Slippery spec size with no scratches on the paint, but not paint chips. Really squeaky and need cleaning. So it looks like the bike is great, but they have some issues with minor things like the shipping and the components are kind of crappy. Shipping issue again there. So what I would do is I would say, here, this one says unreliable. Let's read this. Pedal assist stopped working completely after having been quite unreliable for months. The bike should be fully functioning for only 3 months, and it's not the case. I'm very disappointed by the product. And that was about a year ago. Here it says Ejo customer support is excellent, so that's a great sign. All right, so let's just say yes, but some negative reviews about shipping damage, faulty components, and defects. Okay, so we know that this brand, we're probably going to have to deal with some issues, right? And so they have high search volume. They do have a MAP policy, so it's going to be easier to sell their product, but there's going to be some issues with them, so we have to be prepared for that. Okay, so definitely something to look out for. Now I want to show you an example of a brand that has really bad reviews. Unfortunately, since I know so much about this brand, it looks like their newer products have fairly good reviews, although there's only a few of them, so that's good. So 3.5 stars. I'll show you that example in a minute. Their new products are good. Good. Let's see, their older products. Maybe they just stopped selling them altogether because they had such bad reviews. Yep. Oh, there's one more. This is electric bike. I didn't really type in the full keyword. Yeah, so they used to have their main best-selling products used to be on Amazon, and they had really bad reviews. They may have pulled them because obviously they just have such bad reviews that that's going to negatively affect their brand. So there you go. So the only products they have left on Amazon now, this is one of their main sellers. It's been their best seller over time. Ironically, this is still an old photo. This is not the model you'll get. But anyways, if you read the reviews, let's see what it says. Terrible customer support. 2017, yeah. The bike itself is initially at good value, 18 months after systems problems started occurring. No repair shops will undertake diagnosis, let alone repair, and then multiple inquiries to supplier systems and receive only automated notifications. If you expect our to repeat business, you need to respond, please. Okay, pretty good. Not as powerful as I'd wished. So there's customer service issues. There's issues with the performance. So let's write that down. Yes, but issues with customer service, issues with underperforming. Okay. Looks like there's 63 more reviews. No service to do it yourself. Don't believe the warranty, so issues with warranty. Decent bike for the price. Tires are constantly leaking air, so there's component issues. I'm just going to give you guys a tip. This, unfortunately, is one of the best-selling brands out there, but dealers are constantly breaking MAP, and there's tons of issues with this company when it comes to product quality, customer service, and warranty support. I would highly recommend not doing business with this company. But anyway, so you can kind of get an idea of how to go about determining supplier quality just by looking at reviews on Amazon. So it's pretty simple. And with that said, let's go on to the next thing, which is determining if the target market for this product is one that you want to sell to. See you in the next lesson. All right, welcome to this lesson on target market. So what we're going to do in this lesson is determine who the buyers are. So the target market we want to deal with are consumers who make at least over $50,000 a year, or small businesses. Someone that makes over $100,000 a year is even better. Basically, you want somebody who has lots of money, because then they're not spending their last dollars on your product. It's just going to be a small purchase compared to their total income and their disposable income. So in other words, if something goes wrong with the purchase, or there's delay, or there's a product issue, it's not going to be like the worst case scenario for them. The other thing that you definitely want to be careful with is if you're going to get into a business-to-business niche, which I'll get in later in this course, get into later as to why you would or wouldn't want to. Businesses can often be tough to work with, because if something goes wrong with the order and they need that product right away for a business transaction, it can be very stressful for them, and they're going to take that stress out on you. So consumers are definitely always easier to work with in that respect, but you have to make sure they're the right type of consumer. The other thing we're going to check out is different demographics, so male or female. What are they? Where are they located? What type of career do they have? Are they homeowners or renters? What are their interests? And what is their age? So I should have that here, actually. What is their age? Okay. And so the way we're going to do that is go to Facebook Audience Insights. So I'll open that here. And link is in the description below. Facebook Audience Insights is a great tool because it will tell you all you need to know about any particular audience on Facebook. So all United States is where we're going to be looking. We're just going to have a really broad audience, and we're going to search our niche. So just type your product category that you're researching. And if it's not available, just type something else that's similar, maybe a little more broad. And let's see what's going on here. Not sure why it's giving me trouble. Okay, so that worked. Not sure why this isn't giving me any data. Alright, well, let's see if we can broaden it up even more, make it worldwide. Doesn't seem to help. Okay, well, let's just try bicycle then. Alright, so a little bit more broad. Unfortunately, this isn't the data I want, though. I want electric bikes, so I'm going to see if I can log into a different Facebook account. Maybe it'll give me better data. Alright, so here we are in Facebook Audience Insights. I actually realized the keyword that I should type in is electric bicycle. It doesn't have any information on electric bikes, but they do have information on electric bicycles. And as you can see, the demographics are quite a bit different than just a regular bicycle. And this is because the target market for an electric bicycle is much older. As you can see here, the biggest target market is 55 to 65 years old. The second biggest is 65 plus. And then the next biggest is 45
to 55. So it kind of keeps going down from there. And that's the truth. Older people are into this niche. So again, we're going to be looking at a few different things, but first and foremost, we want to make sure that they're the upper middle class. They make $50,000 a year. Unfortunately, Google or Facebook Audience Insights no longer gives us income data because, for whatever reason, but we can sort of gather what income they make by the job that they have, right? So generally speaking, high-paying jobs means they're making more money. So production, not sure. That might be high-paying production. Management for sure, definitely a high-paying job. Administrative services, maybe. Sales for sure, high-paying. Transportation, moving, maybe. Installation, repair, maybe, yeah. Construction, okay. Arts, entertainment, sports, healthcare, food, restaurant. So definitely, I would say it's a higher net worth niche just because they got management and sales on the top of the audiences. So you can sort of gather that. And another way you can do it is just by going to Google and searching electric bicycle rider, or the type of person that would be using that product, and just taking a look at images of them. Do these people look like they make more money? Do they look like the upper middle class? Do they look like they're wearing nice clothes, like they own a house? They're definitely working jobs that pay them money, so that's good. They don't look young, they look a bit older. All right, so I think definitely this could be the target market, that I would want to sell to. They look like pretty chill people that are happy and having a good time. So this is just sort of going off feeling, though. I like to go off facts more than feelings. So while there isn't really any way to completely determine this, at least you can determine it off feeling, but these things you can determine. So you can determine whether the audience is more male or female by just looking at the male versus female thing here. So we know it's 80% male, 20% female. That's good to know. And actually in the male end of it, the most users are under 45 to 55 years old. So that's good to know. Second most is 35 to 45. So it's going to be somewhere between 35 and 55 are going to be most of your customers. And then there's 65 too. So 35 to 65, that's your target market, with most of it being right in the middle. Another thing to consider is the age group right now is the baby boomers. And baby boomers were people that were born kind of before and after World War II. They're between the ages of 55 and 75. So if your target market matches the baby boomer generation, the baby boomers are definitely the best people to sell to because they're a bit older. They usually have homes, they have cars, they have lots of money to spend. So the market definitely fits the baby boomer age range, which is great to see. So the next thing we want to look at is their age. We just looked at that. We want to look at where are they located. This will kind of give us an idea of, again, the net worth of these people. If they're located in an expensive city, then they're probably making more money. So New York, Los Angeles, those are expensive cities to live in, Manhattan. So they're definitely making more money, the target market here, so that's a good sign. All right, Chicago, Orange County, San Diego, King County, Washington. Yeah, so definitely target market. And just knowing that your target market is mostly New York, Los Angeles, Chicago, San Diego, King County, Orange County, you will have a better time at creating your content around those people. So you can create content just for people in New York, blog content just for people in Southern California, blog content just for people around Seattle and Chicago. And you're going to be targeting most of your audience because that's where most of the audience is on Facebook. All right, let's see what's next. Actually, we should be taking notes, obviously. So electric bikes, let's just put notes up in here in the box. So we know that most of the people are working management, managers, salesmen, etc. Let's just put like a career, construction. Okay, so let's enter a new line here. Let's put what was the last thing we looked at?
We know that most of it's male, 80%, female, 20%. Okay, we know that the age range is 35 to 65, baby boomers. And then the next thing we're going to look at are the locations. So New York, Los Angeles, let's just put Southern California, SoCal, Chicago, Seattle, Arizona. Saw Arizona in there too. All right, the next thing we're going to look at is, are they homeowners or renters? All right, see if they have that data anymore. I don't think they have that data anymore. This is something they used to offer. So yeah, so they don't have that. Okay, that's fine. So I'll remove that then. But I'm guessing it's a mix of the two. What are their other interests? So that they do have, and you can determine that with page likes. So top categories, like internet company, I don't know what Lico is, that's interesting. Indian motorcycles, so definitely they're going to be interested in motorcycles, so you can make content around motorcycles and target motorcycle groups with your electric bike content. Oil, lube, and filter service Valvoline, so they're interested probably in cars as well. Sporting goods stores, AR500 Armor, Cabela's, so they're probably interested in all sorts of different outdoor activities. Cabela's is like a sporting goods place, especially for hunters, so they might be interested in hunting. So let's write some of this stuff down. So interests, other interests, motorcycles, cars, what was the other one? Sports and outdoors, or just outdoors in general. Lico might be like a TV brand or something, like other technology. That's interesting. So sports and outdoors, hunting, possibly. GoPro, so yeah, they're going to be interested in GoPro. Second Amendment, that's interesting. I think that's like the right to bear arms or something like that, right? Double check. Sorry, getting all these notifications here. Yeah, it's something about, yeah, I'm pretty sure it's the right to bear arms. So they're into guns, let's put that, guns. Cars for sure. Sport, we already got that. For America. Cold Dead Hands. Ted Nugent, Willie Nelson. It's good to know like what music and what interests people have, because you can create content around that and you can talk to your target audience. Classic rock. Okay. They're into like Tea Party, conservative. Right. They're like Dos Equis, so beer. Yeah, see conservative news. NRA, so guns. Cheech Marin. So they might be into marijuana. Smoking weed. National Geographic. So let's just say like travel. Dollar Shave Club, so shaving, because it's men, you know, they have to shave. And knowing these other interests is also kind of cool, because if you know they're also interested in some of these things, you might be able to get affiliate accounts later on and offer other things. You might be able to create more content sites outside of this site around these things, and you know, link people to their. So if you know someone's interested in guns in the IRA, they might also be interested in hunting, motorcycles, cars, you know, shaving, conservative stuff, travel. So these are all similar interests people share. Okay, so it's really cool to know that. Lots of things you can do with that data. It's very interesting stuff.
All right, so this is pretty much what you want to know. This is kind of figuring out your target market, who you're going to be talking to. Now, you're talking to guys between the ages of 35 and 65 that live in New York, SoCal, Chicago, Seattle, Arizona, and are also interested in motorcycles, cars, hunting, and guns, and shaving. You know that like generally speaking, what kind of content to make and who you're going to be talking to, and who you're going to be selling to, and who you're going to be taking phone calls with and stuff like that. And so yeah, this is the type of person. So you can even come up with like a name, like I would just say like Bob, and Bob's interested. Bob's a salesman or manager. He's interested. He's like 55 years old. He's interested. He lives in New York or whatever. He's got motorcycles and cars. He's got a big house. He does hunting. He buys his razors from Dollar Shave Club. So yeah, go with like a target persona, and these are the people you'll be targeting. So you will know a lot more about your target market that way. Okay, so with that said, now that you understand that, let's go ahead and determine the level of difficulty, which is going to be in the next lesson. And once we're there, then one of the next steps is going to be to find the best sellers on that website, and we can start kind of like hacking their store more. But let's go ahead and get to the next lesson, where we're going to determine the level of difficulty for this niche and if we want to go ahead and proceed with it or not. See you there. All right, guys, in this lesson, we're going to talk about product complexities. So we're going to determine, number one, how much is involved in the assembly or installation of the product. Number two, how confusing is the product to learn how to use? And number three, how many different variations do the products have? Okay, so to determine product complexity, which will make a determining factor for whether this is your first store or if it's your second or third store. If it's your first store especially, you don't want to get into a niche that's too complex unless you're willing to do the work to figure out how it works, right? So let's just look at one of these that has a lot of reviews here. Get an idea. So, number one, how much is involved in assembly or installation? Just from the look of it here, it looks like a pretty complex product, right? There's lots of moving parts here, lots of little components. So electric bikes might be quite a complex product. There's lots of different things that they're electronic. You got to learn how to use it. Here it even says on this website, some assembly required. Basic assembly, initial maintenance takes about an hour to an hour and a half to complete. We recommend getting it assembled by a certified and licensed bike shop. All materials needed for perform assembly come with the e-bikes, including basic hand tools. We also advise using greasing agents and all threaded parts. Watch our assembly video here. Click that, see what it is.
Hi, I'm Trevor with Road Bike City, and today I'll show you how to put together an extreme.
So this is a video that I made back in 2017 when I owned this website and had my bike shop. And this video shows me assembling
XP300Li
an e-bike. It's about 12 minutes long.
All right, let's get started. First, get a knife and cut open the packaging.
So not all niches and niche sites are going to have assembly videos. This is something that I did because I wanted to differentiate myself in the niche, which really did help. If something like this is available, then it's going to make you a way easier time figuring out how complex these products are.
Okay, so just grab the bike by your...
And oftentimes, it's not even the retailer that's going to have these videos. It's the actual manufacturer themselves that will have the video. So that's important.
So frame and lift it out.
So that's what it looks like right out of the box.
Pull out your user manual. This is really important. And pull out your bag of goodies here. It'll have your charger, derailleur cover, tool set, pedals, and a light.
And this is a really good example, by the way, of an assembly video you can make for your own niche store eventually if you sell a product and you're willing to buy one of them or a demo model and to actually put it together and install it yourself. And film yourself doing it is a great way to differentiate yourself in the niche and build trust.
If you don't have a work stand, don't worry about it. You can assemble this on the floor. Be really careful not to cut any cables, cut the tire, or scratch your paint while you're taking the packaging off. We can put the handlebars on first. Grab an Allen key tool or the tools out of your tool.
So if it's going to require tools to put it together, think about that. Does it come with the bike or the product that you're selling, or is the consumer going to need to have these tools themselves? And also, if it's a very complicated product like this, like the website was saying, maybe it would be better if you actually have them assembled by a contractor of some sort. This would be like a bike shop or a assemble at home kind of bike service provided by a bike shop or an independent contractor. Or if it's something else like an electric fireplace, maybe hiring a contractor to install that electric fireplace.
Okay, that it came with. The 4mm tool is used to put these bolts on. You want to loosen each bolt one at a time, take them out completely. Once you have the clamp off, just grab your handlebars and flip it up. Make sure the fork is forward, of course. The shifter is going to go on the right side. The pedal assist red button is going to go on the left. And the cord should be in front of the handlebars. Don't worry about getting the handlebars perfect yet. Just worry about getting them mounted on there.
I literally went through and assembled tens of hundreds of bikes over the course of owning my bicycle websites. I had 3 websites, one selling fixed gear bikes, road bikes, and electric bikes. So this is one way that I was able to totally differentiate myself in the niche, was actually learning how my products worked inside and out so that I could definitely sell them a lot better and provide better customer service and warranty support after the fact. So consider that if you're going to choose a niche, make sure that you're willing to do the research and figure out how the products work so that you're better able to sell them. I was able to close a lot of sales over the phone that my competitors didn't get because I knew the products inside and out and were able to sell them to people that were totally geeks about these products. They got the information from me that they wanted quickly and easily, and so that built authority and trust, and that's what they needed to buy from me, is to trust me.
Put one bolt back at a time. It's not worried too much about tightening down all the way right now because we're probably going to want to adjust the position of the handlebars later when we get on the bike. Alright, so once the front handlebars are on, we can move on to the next step, which in this case will be the pedals. So to install your pedals, you need a little bit of grease. So look on the pedals, you should be able to...
And by the way, a quick side note here, you notice my shirt says Interbike on it. Interbike is actually an expo conference in the bicycle industry. So that's something you should consider, is whatever industry you're going to go into, you can research conferences and actually go to them and visit them. And I'll be getting more into that later on in this course.
See an L and an R. Take your grease. And grease is important too. If you don't put grease on it, since it's a threaded part, over time with friction, with heat, it's going to wear it down faster and you're going to break down your pedal threads.
That little note right there is really important. And a lot of other people that make assembly videos, especially just random people on YouTube, aren't going to know that. So if they put it together, they probably put it together without grease, and their pedals are just like frozen to the bike, and so they're not to the crank arm, and so they're not really going to be able to remove that pedal if they want to replace it someday. That totally set me apart as an authority right there.
So just move it around.
So knowing those little specific things is really going to help. The details matter.
Make sure it's around there. It's good to have a cloth on hand so you can wipe your fingers off when you're done. Alright, installing the pedals. On the left-hand side, the pedal is counterclockwise, so you'll screw it in counterclockwise. That means to your left. You can take a 15mm wrench and make it easier for yourself. Torque it down so it's tight but not too tight. Wipe off the grease if you want on the edges. Okay, to do the right pedal, same steps apply. The right pedal goes in clockwise. So now that we have the pedals on, the handlebars, I guess we can do the front wheel next. Front wheel's got a disc brake, so putting it on, you have to be careful about the disc. Move the packaging, grab your quick release tool, which should have come attached to the wheel. Remove the little warning sign. Unscrew the knob at the end, and take off one of the cones. The cones should always face the narrow end inward towards the wheel. You notice this one's already like that. Okay, the quick release lever always goes on the left side of the wheel. In this case, the side with the disc brake. The other side, you want to put the cone spring, the narrow edge inward, and then use the little nut and screw it on there. Not too much. Just put the front wheel into the fork, put the disc between the pads, and screw the quick release lever so it's tight, keeping it open, and to close it, just click the latch.
I don't know if you noticed, but all the boxes over here are different brands that we used to sell. State Bicycle Company, 6Coup. These are fixies and road bikes and electric bikes in the box, ready to be assembled, ready to be sold. We had a lot of inventory. It was crazy.
Let's install the rack next. To install the rack, first loosen up this bolt right here on the bottom part. Turn this little piece around. Okay, and just tighten the bolt back up. Same thing on the other side. Alright, so your mounting points have the bolts in them already. Take the stand, put it approximately in place. Okay, to mount on this part.
So there's a lot of different parts. These are complex products, right? You can see I already installed the seat post, the handlebars, the front wheel, the pedals. Now I'm doing this rear rack.
Put it in this little lower portion.
Skip forward a little bit.
Take those off, the 4mm Allen key.
What am I trying to do here? Crazy, right?
Okay, having this installed is going to really protect the rear derailleur from getting bent if you...
It's funny, a lot of customers would get this and have no idea what it was for and ask us. And I have to point out to this video where I actually show them how to install it. It's a rear derailleur protector. So in case you drop your bike on the right side, it doesn't damage the rear derailleur.
If you were to take a crash or just have it go down on its side, this hanger getting bent means that the derailleur is not going to shift correctly, so this guard is really good to have in place. Check out the charger port. If you just unwrap the packaging and put it apart, you'll see that the charger goes just like a laptop charger. Okay, one end goes into the wall, one end goes into the bike. Always plug it into the wall first. Make sure the bike is flipped to the off position. And flip this little latch down here. 3 prongs will go right into the cover. You'll see a little red light go in the battery. When that red light turns green, that means this charger has shut off and the battery is fully charged. It should take about 4 hours for a full charge, and especially if you drained it all the way, make sure you give time either overnight or during the day at work for it to fully charge back up again. I'm going to put air in the tire.
A lot of these things I actually learned from reading the sales copy of product descriptions on the supplier's website and competitors' websites. So honestly, like, I learned this stuff just through research, and I was able to use and test the products so I could fully understand and really understand what I was reading, and then boom, I was able to reteach it. So it's not rocket science here, guys. You're able to do this stuff. You just have to do the research first, and you'll be able to reteach it easily.
First, and then we're going to do some other stuff. So these take a classic straighter valve, and your normal bike pump will work. Try to use one with a gauge so you can gauge how much air pressure is going into it. Or, of course, you can use an air compressor. If you look on the side of the tire, it'll tell you what the maximum PSI is. These are 40 to 65, so I usually pump it up to 60. Okay, back tire is the same thing, so let's get that done. Okay, cool. Alright. I put air in the tires, so now I want to check the brakes and make sure they're good. Obviously it's grinding a little bit. Pads are really close to each other. The wheel is perfectly aligned. So I'm just going to loosen the cable here.
I had to do all sorts of things to get these bikes to work right, and it just kind of goes to show that, like, these aren't just toys. These are really complicated products. So it is worth spending the $100 in the customer's mind to have it professionally assembled by a technician who does this stuff all day, because there's a lot involved, right?
This adjustment takes a 5mm.
So that's why I put on the website, we highly recommend a technician installs it, or you can watch our assembly video and try to do it yourself. But we don't hold any liability if you screw it up.
Allen key. You can see that. There's a bolt right here. The part that says WinZip on it. Just
Adjusting disc brakes is not easy, really complicated, and something that, like, you have to learn over time.
loosen that until the cord comes out and slips away. Okay. Then move the arm until you kind of feel it touch the edge and then loosen up a bit. If you look at it, you'll see the brake pads. Well, everything's good. Okay, that's pretty comfy. Put the bike outside and do a test ride. We'll talk more. Let's check out the battery. Come on in close. You'll have 4 keys with you. This is the ignition switch.
A lot of the stuff I actually was watching reviews and videos from other influencers in the nation, kind of saw how they did their videos. So I sort of took what they did, their little things, and I put them into mine to make it look more professional.
It's in the off position to start with, and you just flip it to on, and you can press this red button here. It'll show you the lights lighting up. That's where the battery indicator shows. The locking mechanism, right down here. Take the key, slide it in, and if you turn it that way, the battery should be unlocked and it comes right out of its little slot. And this way it makes it really easy and convenient to charge and bring it up to your house or apartment. Okay, so putting it back on the bike is pretty simple. There's a little slot here you slide into, so just lock into that slot. Secure it firmly. Turn the key and it's locked. Every time you need to charge the battery, you will need to remove the seat. One thing we've noticed is that this battery will clank around right here. If you want to take a little strip of Velcro or some sort of foam and put it right here on both sides of the battery, that'll stop that entirely from happening.
I mean, I bought these bikes and I rode them around a lot, so I learned all these little tiny things that helps improve the customer experience. And the manufacturer actually was able to improve the experience as well by fixing the product later on. So you can definitely get better supplier relations just by testing their products out and stuff like that.
You'll see on off-road uses when you're doing that. All right, so check it out. I'm going to ride it around for you and see how it works.
So you see no pedaling and it takes right off. That's the awesome thing about e-bikes. They don't go too fast, but it definitely feels like you've got giant legs. You can ride anywhere. So it was definitely a really fun niche to sell online.
Alright, so there are 2 modes to operating this bike. There's a throttle only mode where you pull the throttle and it goes. And there's a pedal assist button right here. This little red button is the pedal assist mode. To turn it on, you just depress the switch and you start pedaling. To turn it off, you can not depress the switch, leave it undepressed, and you can pedal just like normal or use the throttle only. You can also have it pressed in and pull the throttle. That's fine too, but it's not really going to help. So always leave it undepressed if you pull the throttle, just to save battery efficiency. Alright, let's show you how it is. Takes off really easy.
I should have had an outro to that video, but there you go, guys. That's the essence of how complicated products can possibly be. So obviously this niche is definitely complicated, and the first thing that we were talking about is how much is involved in installation. So you can make little notes here and say installation or assembly takes an hour or 2, usually recommended to use a technician. Tools and experience. Okay, so that's the first note. Next thing we're going to do, how confusing is a product to learn how to use? We kind of went over that in that video as well. Product does have some weird things about it, and the more expensive models are probably more confusing, right? They have displays and stuff like that, so it has many different features, but for the most part, they're plug and play. So there's no crazy, programming they have to do to make it work. It's just turn it on and go. Next thing, how many different variations do the products have? Well, you can discover that on the website. So that's really easy to do, right? Just look at the products page and see how many variations they have. In this case, it's just the color. And it's the same product with different colors. So that's cool. But some products might come in different variations. And, I can look, just looking at the listings, I can see there's certain things like 24V means 24 volt, 48V means 48 volt.
So there may be more complications with the more techie products, but so far we can see that mostly it's just color differences between the models. But there are some voltages. There's probably different sizes of wheels. There's different handlebar styles. So there's lots of different types of these products, and so I would say it's like fairly complicated. Variations include color, size, speed, let's say voltage, wattage. I know the motors come in different watts. Displays. There's lots of different specs that each one has. Various other specs. All right. So those are the main things you want to look out for. When it comes to other niches, right, they may or may not have these complications. And so in your niche that you're researching, in all the various niches there are, you just want to make sure that you understand the assembly process or installation process, what it takes, be prepared for that, and try to figure out how complicated they are to learn how to use, and also what variations that they come in. All this is going to help you determine whether this is a niche that you want to sell in or not, or if it's a niche that you think you can compete in or not. Because in order to really do well in a niche, you have to become the authority, and that means providing the best information out there that is available on the net, as well as all the options, and you have to be willing to go deep into your research in order to find those. So that's it, guys. Hope this all makes sense. In the next lesson, we're going to talk about shipping complexities. I'll see you there. Hey guys, in this lesson we're going to talk about shipping complexities when it comes to high-ticket dropshipping products. So I'm going to discuss a few main points with you. Number one is you're going to want to check your competitor's site to see if there are any additional charges for shipping, curbside delivery, white glove delivery, lift gate, etc. And the reason is because products might need to be shipped with freight. Oftentimes high-ticket products are really big, so the bigger the product, the more likely it is it needs to be shipped freight. Maybe these bikes here can be put down into a tiny little box, but something like this is quite a bit bigger, right? And so it probably needs to be shipped on a pallet freight. So for the bigger products, you want to check your competitor's site and see if there's any mention about curbside delivery or freight shipping or anything like that. Even if there's not, it's probably because the supplier is handling it for them. So let's see, kind of hard to find one here. Let's look at the scooters. I think they're bigger. Yeah, like one of these big things probably requires freight shipping. This website probably doesn't really do that great of a job figuring that out. So let's go ahead and try to find other websites selling it and see. Let's just try the first in the organics. So it looks like probably the supplier is handling the freight on these, which is good. So that's important to know. You just need to understand that, like, if the supplier handles the freight, that's great. Oftentimes, though, what that means is that you're going to be paying more on shipping than if you went with a third party. If there are, questions about freight and like variants where you can choose shipping, curbside delivery, liftgate, white glove delivery, things like that, oftentimes you'll either want to do it or you'll be forced to do it. But you'll need to have to handle the bill of lading and get freight quotes from a third-party shipping company to save on shipping costs. Sometimes suppliers will handle it for you, but oftentimes it'll be more expensive than if you went with a third-party company like Freight Club, which I usually recommend. So just so you know that, sometimes suppliers will handle shipping, sometimes they don't. So just be prepared for that, and you can usually kind of tell in your niche with your research if the competitor site has something on there about choosing liftgate or choosing this or that. Sometimes you can't. It is what it is. Some suppliers do, some suppliers don't. Every supplier is a little bit different, but just be aware of the shipping complexities that can happen sometimes.
So let's just put here that bigger products may require freight, but it's probably handled by the supplier. And so smaller products might ship via UPS, FedEx. So anyways, keep that in mind, guys. Bigger products definitely require freight shipping usually, and whether it is handled by the supplier or not, you probably want to get set up with a third-party shipping company anyways. But just kind of do the research so that you understand what you're going to be in for with that particular niche, and you'll get that information from your competitor's site. All right, so with that done, let's go ahead and get on to the next lesson. I'll see you there. Hey guys, this lesson on competitiveness is just going to be a tip from me, and the most important thing is that as you're doing your research, if you find that there are more than 5 to 10 niche store competitors that are selling and advertising in Google Shopping, and all of them have things like discount coupons and free gifts and other bonus offers, and if they have really good looking websites with really catchy banners and good imagery, and they have lots of content, rewritten product descriptions, things like that, it's going to be tough to compete, right? So consider, if you're going to get into a niche and you're a beginner, try to choose a niche that doesn't have as many competitors, and if you find competitors, ensure that they aren't like really good websites. So it's going to be tougher to compete in niches with really well done websites and stuff like that. Doesn't mean you can't compete, it just means it's going to be tougher to compete. So for you as a beginner, it's really important to understand this concept, because competitiveness means that you're going to have to put more work and effort up front. Now, you're going to have to put work and effort up front regardless, but it's really key that you understand that the more competitive the niche, the more difficult it will be to make it profitable. It's just more time it's going to take you and more effort. Regardless of that, you can do all sorts of things to set yourself apart in any niche by creating actual real content and rewriting things and making it more salesy and taking sales calls and closing calls. And there's all sorts of things you can do for conversion optimization, but just understand competitiveness is key. And if you're going to get into a niche, it's always best to get into a niche that's less competitive, but you do want competitors still. So find that perfect balance and make that note in the niche research sheet, and I'll see you in the next lesson. Hey guys, in this training lesson, I'm going to talk to you about what you should be ready for when you're entering a B2C niche versus a B2B niche. So the example I've been using is electric bikes. It's definitely a consumer niche. There are some businesses that use these for deliveries, like pizza places and courier deliveries and stuff like that. So there's a little bit of business to business here, but it's pretty small. Most of it's consumers. The business-to-business stuff is probably going to be more related to products like this, where you have kind of a cargo bike and you're going to move goods around and stuff like that. But generally speaking, this is a business-to-consumer niche. And the consumer market is a lot easier to sell to. Usually they're just going to buy something because it's fun, and so they're a little bit more impulse decision-based buying, whereas business is more of they have to research because they're using a budget with their company to invest in a product that's going to bring them return. So basically, like in this case, someone who's going to be delivering something via bicycle, instead of having to spend more time to go, they can spend less time because e-bikes go faster. So they're buying time basically. So as long as you can kind of understand the investment they're making and what they're going to get out of that, you'll be able to better sell that. I want to show you a niche that's a little bit different. That's definitely a B2B niche more than a consumer niche, and that is this one. LED grow lights. So yeah, people do this at home on their own, but usually they're doing this because of some sort of a business where they're growing something for the purpose of selling it. Okay, so whether they're selling, tomatoes or any kind of regular food to growing and selling marijuana too, they need this kind of stuff for that. So these are businesses that are buying this stuff. So it's a bit of a different way to sell to somebody. You got to understand the market and what their needs are, and also the sales funnel is a little bit different. It can take them a little bit longer to go through and actually buy something. And the cool thing about selling to businesses is that if you can become the number one source for that business, for the needs of their business in that particular niche, they'll come back to you over and over and over again. So you really want to do get on the phone with people when it comes to businesses and talk to them and establish relationships, because people often buy from people that they like. Because if they like you, then they know, like, and trust you. They're going to buy from you over and over and over again, right? So selling to businesses is the same in consumer niches, but when it comes to businesses, they actually need these products for their business. So it's more of a need-based sale, and it's also something that they will buy over and over and over again. So you have to make sure that you understand that. Getting on the phone is going to be really important, and also knowing your products inside and out. So really, really dig deep and understand how these products work and how they serve your consumer, and why they need them and stuff like that, and which ones are better than others. And the better you understand the product you're selling, the better you'll be able to sell it. And honestly, you'll be able to learn a lot about the products you sell just by talking to customers and suppliers on an ongoing basis. So it's not like you have to learn all this stuff ahead of time, although learning some of it is really good. But when you launch your store and you start taking sales calls, just write down every single question you get and get it answered by the supplier, and then go back and add that information to the product page if it's not already there. Answer the question for the customer, who's the business who's buying it, and try to optimize your product pages as you go, so that you can serve the consumer automatically instead of having to do it manually every time. Okay, so just so you know that it's really important to understand which niche you're getting into, what market you're serving, and to always provide the best possible pre-sales support and customer service and after-sales support possible. Okay, so for beginners, I would recommend starting a consumer niche. For somebody who has sales experience and understands how to build relationships and how to keep track of relationships and how to nurture them and stuff like that, I would definitely recommend using a business-to-business niche as a way to really grow a solid company. Okay, so take that in consideration. Make a note in your spreadsheet whether it's mostly consumers or mostly business. So I would say mostly consumers, some small business need these for deliveries. And for this niche in particular, I would definitely consider having a separate funnel just for businesses, even like a bit of content just for them, and try to get them to call you so that if they need to buy an electric bike again, that they're going to go to you instead of the competitors. And if they need a different type, like if they buy one for deliveries and they need another one for bigger deliveries, they're going to come back to you and not somebody else, because they know, like, and trust you. Okay, so make that note, and we will move on to the next lesson. Alright guys, so in this lesson I want to talk about the Google Shopping Ads policies. So this comes into play for niche research because you don't want to choose a niche that is one of their prohibited content, I guess, or like one of those prohibited products that they don't allow to be sold. This happened to me once. Unfortunately, I tried to sell outdoor gear back in the day, and I was trying to sell all sorts of stuff. One of those happened to be knives, and it turns out they do not allow knives to be sold on Google Shopping. So not only did my knife listings get banned, but the actual account got banned because I had knives in there. So you got to be really careful and not list products that are against their policies. So here they have counterfeit goods. Obviously, nobody's going to be doing that. Dangerous products, recreational drugs, psychoactive substances, weapons, which includes knives, guns, things like that, cannot be sold. Ammunition cannot be sold. Explosive materials and fireworks cannot be sold on Google Shopping. Tobacco products. So again, you want to make sure of this because Google Shopping is going to be your main source of income for your business. Without Google Shopping, you're going to have a lot harder time getting money coming into your business. So that's why we're checking. Products that enable dishonest behavior, hacking software, instructions, fake documents, that's not much of a thing. Inappropriate content, let's see. Bullying, intimidating, blah, 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 blah. Nothing big there. Let's see. That says nothing. Adult-oriented content, alcoholic content, copyrighted content. So it says here that if you'd like to promote copyrighted content, believe you are legally authorized to do so, you can contact us. So usually this comes into play when you want to put big brand names on your store. Like if you're doing an AliExpress store, for instance, you try to sell Nike stuff, they're not going to let you, obviously, sell that through Google Shopping unless you have authorization from Nike. The cool thing about this business model is that high-ticket dropshipping, you're going to be an authorized dealer, so you do have the right to promote the copyrighted content, so that's fine. Gambling-related content. National and private lotteries, sites offering bonus codes or promotional offers for gambling sites. That's not an issue. Anything to do with medication, prescription drugs, things like that, not allowed. Let's see here. Yeah, so Let's just look at dangerous products, because that's, I think, the one that is most likely. 3D printing parts of grenades, guns, parts and related products, dangerous knives, other weapons, recreational drugs, tobacco. Yeah, so there's not a whole lot of product categories here, but that are like banned and stuff like that. But you really want to make sure that that whatever you're going to be selling, let's see here, they have more here. Ticket sales, concert tickets, airline tickets, okay. Vehicles, cars, RVs, trucks, boats, catamarans, planes, helicopters, motorcycles, mopeds, and jet skis are not allowed. Anything that's used on for transport of people on public access ways. So there's some issue there with probably registration and legalities. So like, for instance, if you're going to sell electric bikes, you should be good as long as you don't try to sell like an electric motorcycle that requires registration. It does skirt the line in some of the categories, so you just don't want to sell those categories that require registration, especially like some of the electric mopeds are really skirting the line, so you want to be careful with those if you do end up selling them. Here we go. Exception to the policy. Motor-powered bicycles with a motor-assisted speed of 15 miles per hour or less is allowed. So if you're going to try to sell electric bikes that go faster than 15 miles per hour, motor assisted, they're not going to be allowed. So that's a lot of those electric bike categories. So that's the trouble here. They've now made this rule, and so you've got to be really careful and not actually post anything to your feed that's an electric bike that goes over 15 miles per hour. So all the slow ones should be fine, but any of the e-bikes that go 20 miles per hour, 25 miles per hour, that's real fast, nice ones, they're not going to be able to be sold on Google Shopping for legality reasons. Okay, so you're going to have to do other things, organic marketing, YouTube marketing. Maybe there's other ad networks you can use, but it's not going to work on Google Shopping. Okay. All right. Financial products shouldn't be an issue. Currency shouldn't be an issue. Gift cards. Services, maintenance, repair services, accounting services, financial planning, streaming content, online gaming, currency, card repair services sold in bundle with it. So labor, time, effort, expertise, or actions which do not result in ownership of a tangible product cannot be sold in Google Shopping. Okay. Immovable property, real estate, lots of land can't be sold. Recurring billing cannot be sold. Magazines, newsletters, blah, blah, blah. And billing process by product software, digital photo albums. Okay, so that's kind of one of the main things. There's a good example of it right there. That's you got to be really careful getting into electric bikes. You can only advertise products that go pretty slow, or you risk your ad account getting banned. Okay, and that's what we would need to know for this niche that we're getting into, right? Electric bikes that I'm doing the research here, and so I need to know here. I need to notate that. Let's make that note. Boom. So now that I know that, I can notate that here, and we're good to go. So let's get into the next lesson. All right, guys, in this lesson, I'm going to talk about the level of difficulty that a particular store has and what you need to consider before you get started in a niche. So you've done all your niche research. You found a bunch of competitor sites. You extracted their categories. You found the average price points, keyword volume, if it's trending or not, the seasonality. You found all their suppliers that are possible, and you know the search volume of each one, so which one's the best to get. You know if they have map policies or not, and if they're good quality. You've also know what the target market's like, and if there's product complexities or shipping complexities you should be aware of, how old the industry age is. You've done the competitiveness research, and you know whether it's a B2C or B2B niche, and you make sure it's allowed on Google Shopping. The difficulty is pretty simple. Really, the way I look at it is three different things. It could be a beginner store build, an intermediate store build, or advanced store build. And if it's your very first time and you're not working with a whole lot of capital up front, and maybe you're in kind of more of a rush than normal to get the store started, I would suggest only starting in beginner categories. These are categories where the products are sold in single product category niche stores, and there's less than 5 niche store competitors. So electric bikes I would not suggest for your very first store, just because it's a little bit more advanced. Albeit I did start electric bikes, but it wasn't my first store. My first store was actually selling fixed gear bicycles, and my next store was selling road bikes, and then my third store was selling electric bikes. So I already had some experience for a while, and I was actually selling like fixies, road bikes, beach cruiser bikes, tandem bikes. I was even selling electric bikes before I even started my electric bike store. So if you can find a niche that's sold in single product category stores, like for instance, wine coolers is a good example. And in the next module, you're going to see niche reports, and one of those niche reports is wine coolers. And so that's a good example of a single product category store that you can start. Another, there's many more single product category stores out there. You just want to make sure that you choose one if it's your very first store to start, because you really want to just launch with a single product category and then go out from there. The key is going deep into the niche by getting as many suppliers of that same product as possible, and going deep into the product research and product optimization for the best sellers and selling their best sellers and being the authority site in that niche, okay? Because a website needs to be the authority for people to actually trust it, and to know, like, and trust you, you have to be the best one with the knowledge. You have to also be willing to answer the phones and take sales calls and close sales over the phone. And you have to be willing to set up all the marketing channels and do consistent marketing across those, like social media and email. And yeah, honestly, you just need to provide the best customer service and support. Now, if you want successful case studies, go to the very last module in this course where I present to you interviews that I've done with successful people that have multiple 6- and 7-figure stores, and what they've learned throughout their process of building and scaling. And the most common thing amongst them is to find the best suppliers, find those best-selling products, optimize those as much as possible, do lots of content marketing, and provide the best customer service and user experience as possible. But with that said, try to start in a beginner category, okay? And the other thing is, you want to make sure there's not that much competition. The more competition there is, the harder it is going to be for you to get sales, especially if the competition is ranking high in the ads, right? They probably have an ad agency working for them, and that means that they have more resources, more money, more experience. It's going to be hard to compete with those, okay? So try to find a niche. And if you can't, that's just because you haven't done enough research. Keep doing research until you find something like this to get started with, okay? Next thing is the intermediates. So if you've done a store before, or you have prior retail experience, or you have more resources, and you're willing to put more time and effort into it, you can choose a store or choose a product category that's being sold in stores where like 3 to 10 different product categories are sold. An example of this would be like any kind of bathroom site, or sites selling multiple categories. And so what you have to understand is that the wider a site is, the more categories they sell, the harder it is to start, because it takes longer, it takes more resources and all that stuff. And usually people launch with a single category, they make sales, and then with that profit, they parlay that and they reinvest it into their business so that they can grow wider, take on more suppliers, add more products to their store, make more ad spend, and they keep growing their business until it's very profitable, and then they start taking a net profit from their business. But that's usually how it goes. So usually a beginner store is where you'll start, and then you'll grow it into an intermediate store, and then from there you can start being more advanced and offering wider categories, or you can just start multiple niche stores. And it's up to you, and it really honestly depends whether you're willing and able to hire a team of virtual assistants to manage the store for you. Because if you cannot do that, I highly suggest you do not build another store, because a store is like a full-time job, and having 2 jobs sucks, especially 2 full-time jobs. It's impractical. So you need to get a store to full profitability, hire a VA to run it, hire a VA to build it, and then from there you can start scaling and making more stores. It's kind of where we're at right now. That's what we do. We have a whole team of VAs. We build stores, and we also offer build store services to clients. We also sell courses, but we also have tons of stores ourselves. And every store has a break-even point and a budget, which I'm going to get into in the next module. And you're going to understand what you're going to need before you get started, as far as resources go, and be prepared for investment into your business, and know when the break-even point is, because that's the key here. Is you have to be able to invest enough up into your business to get past the break-even point in average monthly net sales, so that you can start making a net profit to reinvest into your business and also to take home an income, okay? So get started, choose one product category, and try to find example competitors that are also doing that. If you can't, it doesn't mean that you can't do a store, it just means that you're probably not gonna have a full-time income from that store if there's only stores selling that product category that are intermediate, that have 3 to 10 product categories on their site. So what you're gonna do is start in that one category as a beginner store, and then launch, and then don't stop. Okay, keep adding categories to your store. It's going to take more time and resources before you become profitable. You have to be willing to sit through that dip in order to get to the good stuff. But you'll become an intermediate store faster if you keep doing it, and you'll be profitable. Okay, and intermediate stores tend to make more money than beginner stores because they have more categories and more bestsellers, right? And then, of course, advanced stores make the most money. But you have to consider that even a beginner store can make plenty of money if you go deep into the niche and optimize the products, do all the marketing, and be the authority in that niche. But you got to choose one with a high enough search volume, enough suppliers, and enough best-selling products. And you have to be willing to do the work. Okay, so that's how you determine level of difficulty. So for this one, for electric bikes, we know there's 20 to 30 niche store competitors, right? And we know that there's like 3 to 10 categories within the store of electric bikes. So I'm going to say it's an intermediate store, intermediate category. If you're a first-time beginner, it's going to be difficult to start in this niche and become successful, like actually profitable. You might make sales right away, but the sales are going to be, number one, difficult to deal with, and number two, it's going to be difficult to get sales all the time because dealers are constantly breaking MAP pricing, and suppliers aren't the best suppliers. So I wouldn't suggest this for your first store, but if you want to take it on, go for it. We did find that issue with Google Shopping, that the motor-powered bicycles with motor assist speed or 15 miles per hour or more are not allowed. So you have to be careful with this store. I would do more niche research and figure out how many bikes are under 15 miles per hour that can be sold, because if there's too many that are over, then of course those aren't even going to be able to be on Google Shopping. The other way you can find out if they're allowed on Google Shopping is just simply by typing them in and see if they're on Google Shopping or not. Then obviously they're allowed. If you take a product from a competitor's site and type it in Google Shopping and it's not showing up, then obviously it's not allowed, and so you shouldn't even consider that as something that you would sell. With the caveat that if you do want to get deep into SEO and organic marketing, you can do blog content, you can do product description, you can do YouTube videos, you can get backlinks and stuff like that. If you want to do that, you can rank organically for products that aren't allowed on Google Shopping and sell them that way too. That is a possibility, and I do know students of mine that are doing really well just with that. But it's very advanced, right? And it takes a long time. SEO takes a while to rank for. Google Shopping, however, you can get a listing up on Google Shopping at the top of the search engine results page for that long tail keyword instantly, just by bidding like $1 or something like that, So you can make sales way faster that way. So that's why you usually go with that first and go with SEO later. All right, guys, determine your level of difficulty, research lots of niches, and find the one you want to go with. And get into the next video where I talk about just making that final decision on choosing your niche, and let's get into that. See you there. Hey guys, in this video I'm just going to go over how to choose your niche for high-ticket Shopify dropshipping. So the key here is that I want to make it really crystal clear on how to choose your final niche out of the entire list of niches that you've created, that you've chosen, that are the best ones that you would go into. So if you have like 3 to 5 that you are trying to choose between, this video should help you finalize your decision. And really, I'm just going to emphasize key points from the other videos that I think maybe you possibly may have missed or just not gone over enough. So let's get into it. The first thing is that you want to focus on the most important factor, of course, which is to choose one product category. So if you, if some of that data didn't add up, like you couldn't find enough suppliers or something like that, you can niche up to multiple product categories, but you definitely should try to just start with one product category, especially with your branding. So it's easier to get suppliers in that one product category so you can launch and then you can grow out from there. Now, as far as the pricing goes, just make sure it's between $200 but below $1,500 on average, just so it's more passive. Okay, if the product lines are over $1,500 on average, it's probably going to require more pre-sales support by phone in order to close the sale, so it's not going to be as passive. So somewhere around the $800 to $1,200 mark on average is really perfect because people will buy that online without having to think twice. The target market, you just want it to be upper middle class income status. So that means they're making around $100,000 a year. You want them to be leading edge boomers and seniors because those are the easiest people to sell to and to close sales. So people that are between the ages of, let's say, 45 all the way, or well, really 55 all the way up into the like 70s and 80s, those are the good ones to sell to. And I would say the best is right in the middle there, right? Like the 65 to 75 range, the retirees. Okay, and make sure that they have plenty of money to spend. This should be a product where people that are buying it have, lots of money to spend and they're willing to spend it. All right, so as far as competitors go, make sure your niche has some competitors, but not too many. 3 to 10 is usually good. It's okay to have broad site competitors, but 3 to 10 niche competitors is what you're looking for. Any more than 10 niche competitors, and you're going to have a really hard time competing, and it's going to be hard to rank in those CPCs later on in the paid AdWords. As far as suppliers go, make sure there's at least 10 suppliers, okay? If there's less, make sure you niche up a little bit. You choose multiple product categories. If there's more, niche down. Choose a more specific target market in a category. So, like I said, when you niche up, you're still going to want to start with a product-specific brand name, but then you can offer more categories in the future. Trends and demand, again, check Google Trends. Make sure it's trending straight or up, and then check what the seasonality is. Make sure you're willing to do that. If it's a summer seasonal niche, make sure you're willing to, save up money and be prepared for the winter season when it comes. It's going to be slower. All right, and then if it's winter seasonal, then make sure that during the summer when the sales are low, that you're willing to deal with that as well. And then check KWFinder.com. See how many searches the main product category gets per month. If it's over 50,000, that's good. If it's under, it's not that bad. It just means that you might need to niche up to multiple product categories, or at least plan on selling multiple product categories, but still keep that branding under one specific product category. All right, the next thing is product complexity. The product has a lot of complexities and options to choose from. It has a complicated problem that it solves. It might be difficult to sell online. You might need to do a lot of pre-sales phone support and after-sales phone support as well. The more simple the product is, the better. Electronics are more complicated, so they require some knowledge and understanding. It will require more pre-sales and after-sales support. So just keep that in mind. If you're selling a product that's not electronic, it'll be a lot less complicated to sell and to offer support on. And then one of the last things is profit margins. Generally speaking, home-based niches have higher profit margins than hobby-based niches. That's just kind of overall what I've noticed in the industries. But some suppliers will offer higher margins than others in pretty much every market. Margins usually range between 20 to 30%, but can be higher. The higher the margin, it usually means that shipping is not included, so you're going to have to pay the shipping fees. You might even have to hire your own freight company to do the shipping. Now, the lower the margin usually means that shipping is included in the wholesale cost, so the supplier usually takes the shipping and adds it into the fee, into the overall wholesale price. You can always ask for a supplier's price guide before you sign up with them to see if it's worth it, and that's a really good idea to do. If they know you're a good e-commerce company, they'd set you up. You can just say, well, before I fill out the application and make you go through all the setup process, let me check out your price guide and make sure that we can work with you. And of course, how to make your final decision. Listen, if you have multiple product categories, choose the one that most interests you. You will need to learn about the products to sell them, so you need to have some interest in learning about them. This is key. Your ability to create unique content in your market will make the difference between a side hustle and a full-time income in the long run, right? It doesn't necessarily mean that if you don't know about it, you can't learn about it. If you don't know about something, you can definitely learn about it. You just have to show interest in learning about it. You have to get excited about it because you're going to need to go out and get content created or create content yourself. And the more you're willing to do video content in your niche for your e-commerce business in the future, the more likely it is that you'll be able to make more sales. That's just what it is, the bottom line, because people trust you more when you make video content. So with that said, guys, just make a final decision. It doesn't really matter what your niche is if you have some really good ones. Just choose one and go. And what I can say is that it probably won't be your last store. If you're going to start one and spend the next 3 to 6 months building it, after that, once it becomes more passive, you can choose to start a second store. After you start outsourcing it, you can choose to start a third store after that. And I would plan on that if I were you. That's why I usually tell people to start with a broad name LLC and then, make your niche specific DBAs under that as, as sister companies. Okay, so with that said, guys, choose a niche. Don't hold back, just do it and move on, and we'll see you in the store building course when you finally choose your niche and make that decision and move forward. Thanks for watching, guys. See you in the next chapter.